I'm Lena.
I'm Jada.
And I'm Vanessa.
Welcome to San Diego's HCL Video Project.
One of the things that impacted that situation was the fact that they left behind a lot of their relatives who did not make that transition to the north.
The conditions in my hometown were the same as the conditions in practically every northern town.
Pastor Ham, I am not nonviolent. You know, I had just spent my time in the war zones, and if someone was going to spin on me, I was going to hurt them.
I have some very, and have had all my life, very good friends who are white. I consider them personal good friends, but they're white, and they still have a white privilege that I don't have.
The Great Migration between 1910 and 1940 was a journey where African Americans traveled from the South to the North.
They were in search of a better life, economically, socially, educationally, and culturally. They heard they would work and escape the horrors of the Jim Crow laws.
But when they reached the North, they found that the white Americans in the North treated them just like those in the South.
We were informed that, casually informed that when we got to this picnic grounds, swimming would not be open to us as Negroes that we were called then. And so we decided not to attend. The blacks decided not to attend. But it were incidents like that all along. I mean, not only the name calling, but just the separation, the lack of opportunities that you had.
As far as the migration and the effect that it's had, they found better jobs in the North, and they were able to get away from that plantation mentality that was so prevalent in the South, and that blacks had to get into because that's the only jobs that they could find. Once we got up north, then the jobs started opening up in manufacturing, and businesses and other things, and of course it took years to happen, but it did happen that blacks made progress in the North, as well as those blacks in the South who began to realize that there were better things to do than picking cotton or working on the farm.
Pastor Ham, I am not nonviolent. You know, I had just spent my time in the war zones, and if someone was going to spin on me, I was going to hurt them. My role, I think, was more working underground than it was being above ground, because I was a violent, angry, black young man when I came home from the service. And it was not anything within me that was going to allow me to be a pacifist. You strike at me, I'm going to strike back at you. I have since changed a lot.
In our research, we discovered that there was a second migration between 1940 and 1970, where more than 6 million African Americans moved again, this time setting their focus on the West.
After realizing that the North was not what they hoped it would be, those who were financially able moved out west.
But they were fooled again. It was here they heard stories of racism on the West Coast, stories about the Mississippi of the West.
And I've always defined it as Mississippi West. It created the illusion of fairness that didn't exist and still does not exist. There is the sunshine. I remember the migration during the World War II, where you had a lot of individuals coming from Texas, Oklahoma, and Alabama. And the war industry in this community, with a consolidated aircraft factory and all of those things, is what brought the migration this way. What I have found in San Diego through my history here, those that have been productive usually were those that came from the South to San Diego. And the reason I feel that way is because when I think of my cohort, the people my age all growing up together in this community, a lot in jail, a lot dead, a lot having done nothing of value. And when I look at the people who have done outstanding things in this community, I can migrate from the South directly here and see. And I think that is stemmed on the basis that when you're coming from an environment like the South, where it was very clear that education was extremely important to those that migrated, because when you've been denied something and now you have an opportunity to capture that, there is a strong desire and a sense of needing to do it. And I see that as the difference between those in the South who suffered directly to those in the North who had the illusion of fairness and equity.
Well, I named it the Mississippi of the West because it, in fact, was one of the most segregated cities I have ever been in. Of course, it got me into trouble a lot of times, but eventually it worked out well. We became one of the most popular groups in town ever, still popular, called the Citizens Interracial Committee, CIC for short. We were the official human relations agency for the city. We eventually had 19 staff people. We worked in every area you can think of, from housing to police relations to education and the whole bit. We filed several lawsuits. One big one was to desegregate the city's schools.
Mississippi South is a very good commentary because I equipped myself with the idea of what was occurring in the 60s in the South and the absence of that direct relationship here, but a very indirect. I remember very distinctly in this town where, as a young black man, or a black man period, in La Jolla after dark, the police were going to stop you. Mississippi West? Yeah. Is it still Mississippi West? Yeah. In a moderated form, but I think that the moderation is based on those that have been able to overcome the obstacles.